Look, I was around the Cabinet Committee table in 2015, 2016, when this whole pay equity idea came out of the Terra Nova case. I said it was wrong then, and it's wrong now.
Because they tried to claim a bit of credit.
Well, it's
national.
wrong. The simple question is this. You know, I saw people who are supposedly working. They said, oh, we're working on...
I'm sorry about... I know this is not the subject matter, but we're talking about this new show. It looks pretty good. I mean, camera angles and stuff, technically wise, it certainly looks the part before anything else.
Pay equity claims. Well, newsflash, folks, that's not work. If we're going to have a society where we try and go forward by arguing with each other in court about who should get paid how much based on some crazy comparison, I can tell you we're not going to catch Australia, and that's the real pay equity gap we should be trying to close.
Now, I agree, Mr. Seymour. So what I suspect now is if that's the pay equity gap we're trying to get, I'm assuming there's a huge salary increase coming for nurses and for police officers, because you're the government and you pay some of these industries, and you're saying we need to bridge the gap with Australia. So much like we just said about Morgan, so what are you going to do about that now? Because sorry, trickle-down economics doesn't work for a doctor or a nurse. That works for people who are struggling the most. But we agree with you about catching up to Australia, but you can do that with a stroke of a pen, Mr. Seymour. So will you put your quill where your mouth is and close the gap on wages between Australia and New Zealand with the salaries you have control over? Sorry, Chewie.
I would only assume that Comrade Seymour here is talking about strengthening the unions, increasing penalty rates, changing our tax brackets, adding capital gains tax.
Yep.
All of those good things.
All the things that they have in Australia.
Absolutely turbocharge us catching up with Australia. But you can't pick one thing from Australia and not the other things.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not going to
always try and do.
I'm not going to criticise Ryan Bridges on the first time we've seen him since he left AM. that would feel a little bit mean, but that's the obvious question that's not being asked. So what are you doing, Mr. Seymour, to bridge that gap with the Australian wage difference? Okay, so let's take that as read. If I agree with you, I agree with you. So what are you doing, Mr. Seymour, to bridge that gap? And the answer is fucking nothing.